Guys, today I'd like to talk about Unit 3, which is conditionals. For some of you, you may have studied conditionals for a long time. Others, maybe a little bit of new information. We're going to talk today an overview of real conditionals, and then we'll get into unreal conditionals. These are going to be used in your cause and effect essay. All right, so we'll start with real conditionals. Okay, what is a real conditional? Well, it's an if statement. Okay, if then, but we're talking about things in real life. So something that is a general truth or a habit, okay? Okay, so if the weather is nice, I will go to the beach. Okay, so this is kind of a habit in our life, or maybe just a general truth. If the weather's nice, I'll go to the beach. You could be talking about next week, or you could just be talking in general. When we're dealing with conditionals, take your pen and circle the verbs, okay? If the weather is nice, I will go to the beach. This is very important. With a real conditional, we have what's called if. The if statement will always be in present tense. Always. That's how we know that it's a real conditional and not an unreal conditional. And it affects the grammar, it affects your writing. So please take a note. The present tense is used with a real conditional. And then what do we see in our result? Okay. And the then is often omitted, but if we have a then we can actually have quite a few more options here. In this case, I used will, which would be future. I will go. So we know you're talking about like next week. You can also use present tense. If the weather's nice, I go to the beach. Yeah, just a habit. If the weather's nice, I go running. Or we can sometimes use it with some modals that show probability. I might go to the beach. I could go to the beach. You know what? I really should go to the beach. So these have different meanings. Might means, how likely, like a maybe. Could shows possibility. Yes, I'm able to. I could go to the beach. Should shows obligation. I should go. Maybe there's some reason or obligation for you to go there. All right. We can also sometimes see this if in a real conditional replaced with the word when. And it still has the conditional meaning. When the weather is nice, I go to the beach. So that's not as common, but you might see that in your book, that sometimes we use it with when. All right. We can also use this with a special word called unless. Unless. Unless is a little tough because unless is actually the negative. The meaning is if not. Unless the weather is nice, I won't go to the beach. So it changes our negative. Unless it's warm, I won't go swimming. Unless you study, you won't do well in class. So when we use unless, we need to have a negative, okay? Unless it's warm, comma, I won't or I will not go swimming. Okay, so we use unless with a negative because it means if not. All right, and as you said, you guys were following along in Unit 3. So you can go to your book and take a look here at Unit 3. Let's take a look now of another common phrase. We've got unless, we've got only if, and even if. And these are probably the hardest part of the conditional unit. Only if and even if. I'm going to leave out this first part here. So we said unless is if not. Only if means the exception. Means the rule must happen. Only if it's nice, I will go to the beach. Okay? Only if it must be met. I'm sorry, let's not call it an exception. That's a little bit tricky. Let's see, a rule must be met. If the weather is not nice, I am not going. So we use only if to kind of really show emphasis that it's required. Only if you study will you pass this class. Only if you do your homework will you understand the concepts. Okay, it must be met. It must be done. And then we've got even if, and even if is really sort of the opposite. It means the condition doesn't matter. So really, it's really the opposite. Even if the weather is nice, I'm not going to the beach. I have too much homework. I have to stay home. I can't. So even if is really kind of an opposite meaning, is saying that condition is not met or met, it doesn't matter. I'm not doing what I said, okay? Even if the weather is nice, I am not going. Right? Even if I study all night long, I won't understand. And I think that's not true. You'll get this, okay? So these are the three kind of trickier parts of this unit. Unless, only if, and even if, okay? We'll continue to study those in class. All right. We are going to be talking a little bit next week about unreal conditionals. I'll go ahead and introduce it today so that you have it all together in one video. An unreal conditional is a little more advanced. Sometimes it's called conditional 2. And an unreal conditional we do when we're talking about something that really is maybe imaginary or not a real situation. That's why it's called unreal. Imaginary or theoretical or hypothetical, okay? And for this one, we use past tense. This can be confusing because it's not that the event happened in the past. It's that it's a past, the past tense shows us it's an unreal event to happen. If I won the lottery. Did I win the lottery? No. I never win the lottery. I don't play the lottery. If I won the lottery, it's unreal, imaginary. What would happen? What could happen? What might happen? So we usually use would, could, might, or should. Okay, so these are important. You have to memorize the specific modals that are used with the unreal conditional. Would, could, might, or should. And these are used in the result. If I won the lottery, I would give it away. That's probably not true. I might give away some of it. I might. Give it away. Maybe I could buy a car. I should share it. Okay? So would has to do with most likely what you will do. Might is kind of less likely, maybe. Could has to do with ability. And should is obligation. I should give it away. I should give it to someone else. So please study Unit 3 conditionals. We will be seeing these all semester. this quiz, midterm test, final exam. You'll see unreals and real. And thank you for your time. I'll see you guys in class.